Yo, what's up? I'ma kick it with the line, y'all know. Yo, Slim, can I kick it like this? Here we go. Well, it's time to make that change. People of the world today are fading. All of us have our ups and downs. You better think about it or you won't be around. What we need is a little bit of love, sent by one from heaven up above. Chicken for tea is simple and plain. This ain't no game, you know what I'm saying? What?
It's time.
Yep, yeah.
Time to make the change.
Here we go.
We are the people who can do it.
Oh, yeah.
It's time. Time to make the change. We are the people who can do it.
Yo, Mob, kick it for me one time.
It's what is the world coming to? Seems like everyone is running from the truth.
Yep, yep.
We need to stand up and fight. Walk into the light. We're the people, we can do it. We try. I know we can do it. Somebody ask me, why do we have to go through it? It's just a test of our faith. So we're living day to day. We don't know where, we don't know when, but it's coming back again.
About that time.
Yes, it's time. Time to make a change. And we are the people who can do it. Well, welcome again. You're listening to Success to Succeed on KBRG, The Bridge, with your host, Larry Harris. Today's show is about grant writing. I have an expert on the show, Dr. Wanda Robinson Middleton. She is an excellent grant writer, and she is going to give us information about writing grants and how we can get a grant, and it's for any business, and how to go about it. Dr. Wanda Robinson, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. Will you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your business?
Okay. Well, my name is Wanda Marie Middleton, and I've been in business for about 30 years, more or less, on many different levels. General contractor, GC, building houses from the ground up. Had my hand in restaurant business for about 3 years, and several daycare centers in the New York City tri-state area. Now I am in the Virginia location, and I kind of taught myself how to write grants years ago because I wanted to pursue one. Well, in that, through trial and error, I've stumbled upon a lot of different things, and now I'm sharing my knowledge with those that are interested. Also writing grants, research and writing, because grant involves two different levels or two different aspects. It's the research part, and then once it's researched in the particular client state, then I go about applying for those grants. One of the questions that I get a lot from different clients is, first of all, do I have to form a nonprofit? Well, right now, because of COVID-19, because of all of the money that has been made available through the SBA from the federal government, there is a lot of grant money that is floating around out there, and is so readily available for-profit entities and nonprofit now. There are certain criteria that a for-profit entity has to follow, but it is still made available. I tell my clients, you can easily go and apply for grants on your own, but the chances of your company getting chosen is very slim and far and few apart. Why? Because they don't know you. There's no credibility to your company. So what I do is I have to now establish the fundability of the company, making it credible to the federal government. How is that done? I obtain a federal issued ID that is designated just for your company. So when the grantees or those that are looking to dump monies into a charitable organization, it doesn't have to be a church, it doesn't have to be a religious organization, it doesn't have to just be a Pacific nonprofit, it could be any type of charity. And we have different levels of charity. And without getting off topic just for a little bit, you have the 501c3, you have the 501c4, you have the 501c6, and those are different types of nonprofit organizations. It just depends on the type of business. So say, for example, you have a rich old woman who is dying, and she has $100 million, and she does not have any immediate beneficiary or someone to leave her money to. She asks her attorney to now dump this $100 million, give it back to an organization. It could be a charity or a business that is doing something for the community. So you could be a for-profit and still is benefiting the community. You're doing something for the community. So what happens is this attorney, the first place he's going to go look is through for those businesses that has been federally approved or have a particular government number in the system, and your business is going to pop up. It depends on, where they want to dump this money at. It could say, well, we're looking for charity, or we're looking for a homeless organization, or an organization that helps the homeless, or we're looking for a company that, is supporting runaways. So basically, your business is going to come up. And because you are simply federally approved by the federal government, they contact you. So there's no more you searching out the grant and looking for the grantee. The grantee is contacting you. They are emailing you. Listen, we have a $10 million that we would like to grant to your organization, and are you able to accept it? Can you complete the assignment? Can you fulfill what we're asking? And it's a matter of you saying, yes, I can, or no, you can't.
That's good. That's good. That's good. What since they don't need to have a 501c3 or 504 type of nonprofit, what other there's usually the criteria for as an individual to apply for a grant?
Well, as an individual, you would have to form a company, because only the company can be that they will issue a grant to. So you need to have a company formed.
Okay. Is there any particular type of entity that you would recommend?
I've gotten grants for landscape work. There's a landscaper. He started out as a sole proprietor, formed his LLC, asked he needed new equipment. So I got him his federally approved number with the federal government. They contacted him, and he's based in Louisiana. They contacted him via email, okay, asking him, we know you're a landscaper, but we have a funding opportunity. We want to give you $250,000 if you're willing to go in and clean an office building that's been empty due to COVID-19. Are you willing to take the contract? Now, he's a landscaper. He knows nothing about cleaning a business, but like I told him, how hard is it to clean a business? The place is empty. You can go and hire you 30 men. They're giving you $250,000. Okay, so basically that $250,000 is your salaries. It is your insurance. It is anything that you need: mops, brooms, Lysol, bleach, buckets, uniforms, whatever it is you need is in that $250,000. You just need the manpower. Never mind that you are a landscaper. The fact that you have a federal code, this is why they're contacting you. So it doesn't really matter what type of business is applying for the code. You just need to have it and be approved. It's a 50-page application. It takes about 2 months, but it is worth the journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. Once a person gets this government number, what is it? Various types of grants? Could you elaborate on the different types of grants that you've seen people get funded?
Well, what happens is once you are approved, and when I mean by approved, what the federal government is going to do is they're going to take your company and approve you on 12 certification levels, meaning that normally back in the day, when I was a minority women-based business, then I had to either go to the Chamber of Commerce or reach a local organization to apply, put in an application so I could be recognized as a minority woman-based business. And then I had to send in all these documentation, my LLC, like prove that that the company was real. And then I had to wait for them to go through each piece of the paperwork. It took about 2 months, and then they contact me saying, yes, you're approved. Here is your certificate. And it's a nice certificate that you get to put in a frame. Nowadays, with this code, they are certifying you on all 12 certifications. So basically, if you are a Black-owned business, that's one certification. If you happen to be a woman, then that's another certification. If you are Indian and live on a reservation, that's another certification. So they begin to certify you based on the criteria of who you are as the business owner. So now you have these certifications all tucked in the system. So when someone looks at it, they see your whole portfolio of your business. They also ask that you provide them your bank account and routing number because the money is directly deposited into your bank account. There is no middleman. There is no other person. It just goes directly into your account. Okay. Once you're completed. So what happens is a lot of people say, well, I don't need my 501c3. And I always say not necessarily, because there are certain grants that the grantee will say, well, even though you're federally approved, we also want you to have your 501c3 or your 501c4 or whatever status. So those type of grants you will not be able to get if you are not, if you do not meet their criteria. Okay, so it just depends on what the grantee is looking for. And so what happens is you're going to get flooded with emails every day. What's going to begin to happen is you're going to get all sorts of solicitations and bids. You also get the opportunity to submit a bid. You also get the opportunity to submit RFPs, a request for proposal. You might see something that you want to get your hands into. Just recently, one of my clients, he's an investor. He bought his first property. He rented it out, so he's a landlord. But he's looking to buy a 26-unit apartment building. So he called me to see if he can get a grant to go and purchase an apartment building. It doesn't have to be within the state that that your business was formed or you're located. It can be in other states. And he lives in Georgia, but there was an apartment building that met his needs in Florida. So it's a matter of, do you want to go to Florida, spend some time there? There is a funding opportunity, depending on what you want to do with the housing. People are being evicted. People are facing eviction. This is a perfect opportunity to purchase a building, but you need the money. They're going to give you the money to go purchase the building so you can put people in homes.
Wow. That's an ingenious opportunity.
Yes.
So let me ask you this: I know one of the levels that you were talking about. I know that they, from my information, they have a level where you can get certified in what's called a small business. They call it small business.
Yeah.
Under $8 million.
That's another
small business.
That's minority. So that's a different certification.
Okay.
But yeah, that's part of that 12 certification that I mentioned earlier.
So, but that doesn't have on that particular one a small business that's under $8 million. It doesn't matter about the ethnicity, right?
I didn't get your last
It
question.
doesn't matter about the ethnicity. What if they go under the small disadvantaged business? I think they call it SDB, small disadvantaged business.
Yeah,
or it's not.
It does matter. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but it does matter because if you're Indian, a native Indian, then there's certain advantages that you're going to get that me as a Black-owned minority will not get. Okay? And there are different kinds because they ask different questions. Were you born in Hawaii? Because that's a different classification for you. So therefore, your opportunity has broadened. So the whole idea is to broaden your opportunity base So the grantees, are, when they look at you, they'll go, okay, they're certified on this level, this level, this level. So guess what? We have 5 grants, and they meet them on those different levels based on your certification.
Okay. The other thing is that as you as a grant writer, and you discovered different loopholes. And I remember, like, when I was in college, we wrote grants. There was one that asked about who's the facilitator, and is there when you write grants, is there a way to pay the person that's in the grant that have to pay them to be a facilitator of the grant?
Well, now the word that we use is administrator. So basically, if I'm charging $5,000 to write an extensive grant, and that means it's going to take every bit of 30 days of dedicated at least 6 hours a day to write each section of this grant, because they're looking for a certain language. The IRS has a certain language that they are looking for me to use. So and then based on your business or what it is that you're looking to do, I have to use that language. So my fee could be $5,000, and you may say, well, I'm just starting out. I'm a small business. I don't have $5,000. So I would set up some grant writers will set up a deposit with the organization. They may say, well, give us $1,000 down, and what we will do with the $4,000 balance is treated as an administrative fee that will be tucked into the grant writing process. So if you're getting $50,000, we have to make sure we follow the guidelines, because back in the day, people were afraid of receiving grants because the stigma was, if you're not using the entire grant money for what you got it for, you're going to jail. You're going to face an audit, and that's it. Now, well, the rules have changed now. So if you're getting $50,000, okay, they want you to use. Let me see. If you're getting $100,000, they want you to use $80,000 on what it is you're supposed to use the grant money for. Make sure you have a bookkeeper, an accountant, and you're keeping your receipts, and everything is being recorded. $80,000. And the other $20,000, they expect it to be spent on the founder, the owner, or the president of the company. This is how they establish it this way, so people don't get in trouble, because they know you're going to buy something, you're going to spend something, because you don't want it to be where, oh, I can't touch that money, but my rent ain't paid, my lights is off, and this and that, but yeah, I got $100,000 sitting in the account, and my homeowners are suffering. So they've relaxed the guidelines now. So I believe it's 80%. So basically, if you're getting $50,000, you know you can only spend $10,000 on yourself, and the other $40,000 has to go into what you have gotten a grant for in the first place.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: are there if a person gets a grant for one thing, can they I don't want to, for lack of a better word, can they double dip as far as getting a grant for like equipment, and say they like to get a building and all within that? If the $100,000 was for one purpose and they needed to get some other stuff, could they apply for another grant while they're got this other grant?
Yes, I usually apply for 3 grants at one time per client. So they pay one fee, and I apply that one fee. So if I'm charging $5,000, that includes at least 3 grant proposals for them. So basically, if one grant is approved for $15,000, and that $15,000 is to buy 2 vans, 2 15-passenger vans, right? So $15,000, about $3,500 is going to go to you, and the balance is going to go towards purchase of 2 vans. Okay, so there may be leftover money. That money sits in the account, stays in the account until until the audit part is met, until you can prove that you've done everything you said. You're going to buy a van. Okay, you also need to factor in insurance if you're going to have the vans wrapped with your business logo. So all those things come into play in the cost. Okay, so now another grant is approved. That one is for $75,000 because remember you applied for 3. Not that you're going to get 3. We can't guarantee approval because I never guarantee approval. I'm not the grant toward that's giving you the money. I'm only the person that writes it. So basically, right. So basically, you get another $75,000. That one is for you to purchase land or the building or to get more equipment and a whole plethora of things. So basically, that's 2 grants, 2 separate reasons, and you want to keep it separate. You want to use that $15,000 on the van. You want to use that $75,000 for the equipment or whatever else that you needed. So it prevents double dipping. Okay. If you stick to a tight budget and you make sure you are able to meet the need within the budget, even if there's money left over.
Okay. What about could they establish a CRA?
You like these acronyms, but I need
to. well, okay. I'm talking about like a lot of churches where they create a CRA. So basically, it's a community redevelopment agency to build a senior place, and then I know you can help churches establish a CRA. A community redevelopment agency.
You're talking about the charter?
Yeah, a community redevelopment agency where they actually could get a grant. They would get a business entity, and they would get maybe a 501, and then they could build a senior citizen home, apartment, or something like that, or
okay.
Something
so
like that.
I haven't encountered a client that has that need yet, so that's kind of new for me. So far, I'm working with a client right now. They have a historical piece of property, which is a church that was 100 years old, but the church is 120,000 huge piece of property, and it's divided into, so you have a 60,000 square foot building and then a 40,000, another 60,000 square foot building. So because they are a church and they want to have a basketball program and they want to do all these different things, I told them they do need to create a subsidiary that's connected to the church, okay? And under that subsidiary, it could be for-profit, where they are now selling memberships to use the gym, or, they're renting it out, or they are you have people that may want to come and rent the space for activities, sports events, weddings. So now the church can collect that money as a for-profit, not so much the church, but the subsidiary that is under the church. Okay? So is that the same thing you're talking about?
Yes. And then basically, I guess what I'm saying is they can actually create an entity as a community redevelopment agency or a subsidiary of their nonprofit that can that actually designated to be a fundraising entity for the particular nonprofit.
Yes, they can.
Right.
Yes, they can. So basically, if they wanted to open up a furniture pantry, and I'll talk about what I know because I had a furniture pantry, and as a nonprofit as a nonprofit organization, I wanted a furniture pantry that was a subsidiary underneath the church, not so much owned by the church, but owned by the subsidiary, okay, and which has its own name, its own tax ID, its own separate entity, okay? And even though it's a nonprofit, it is not the church. Right. It is a furniture pantry. So, and it was for the community. Anybody could come in and choose the best top-of-the-line furniture. So, and they can come in and get living room sets, bedroom sets, whatever. So, yes, that became known as the not so much an agency. I don't want to use that word because when you use the word agency, you fall under a different classification now.
Right.
So it wouldn't be a 501c3. It'd be a 501c4, no, a 501c6 because now that's a social organization. So, but yes, to your answer, yes.
So would you say there was there's a definite difference between a faith-based organization versus like a 501c3? Basically, most churches are 501c3. But then you have, like I said, faith-based organizations where people are doing things that are, they could be considered a religious or of a denomination, but they're doing nonprofit things, and they're making a profit for a nonprofit.
Well, yes. Well, basically, there are 3 types of 501c3s. We're not talking about the 501c4 or the 501c6.
Mm-hmm.
So, which in the 501c4 is for sports. If you had a boxing gym, if you had a type of community thing where they can come in and exercise for the homeless or whatever. But the 501c3 falls under 3 categories. You can have a church because it's going to ask, are you a church? Okay. The answer is no. Are you a religious organization? You could be a Jewish type of organization. You understand? But
right.
that the answer would be for them if they're Jewish and it's all about the Jewish culture, but they're nonprofit, but yet they're not a church.
Mm-hmm.
The answer would be yes for them, a religious organization. Then the final thing, are you a faith-based organization?
Okay.
So you have a charter school, and the charter school is a Christian charter school. What type of Christian? Well, Christian is broad nowadays. Catholics believe they're Christians. Some Muslims believe they're Christians. So it's very broad. So faith-based would be, well, we talk about a higher power in our charter school. Not that they refer to God or Jesus, just a higher power. Mm-hmm. You have, and I hate to say it, but you have those that are not Christians who believe themselves to have a certain faith. They could be a cult and still get approved as a faith-based organization because of their belief. That's a different type of 501c3.
Okay, so that's under faith-based organization.
Yes.
Okay. When you start the grant process, what type of information do you normally need from the person that's seeking to get a grant?
Well, basically, the first thing we're going to ask is, do you have your entity already formed, okay? Meaning, do you have corporation papers or an LLC? What type? We get into that first, finding out all those fundamentals first. Your tax ID number, your EIN. We talk about establishing your DUNS number, okay? And then my goal is to get you, again, your federal code. And so with all those different things, now you are ready to pursue the 501c3 because your foundation is straight. Making sure you have a separate business address, not your home, not your house, a real business location with a real telephone number attached to it, not your cell phone. So all those things are very important when establishing the foundation that I look for my clients.
Okay. Do they? What about? Do they need to have good credit?
That's phase 2. So basically, I take them through different phases. You have phase 1, part A, and phase 1, part B. Okay, and now once phase 1, part A, which is the establishment of the incorporation, getting all those different things, your website, all those many different intricate pieces to lay that foundation, and then we go to phase B. If you want to be a nonprofit, now we do the 501c3. But otherwise than that, then you're ready for phase 2. Phase 2 will involve establishing the business credit. The business credit is easier to establish than your personal credit. Your personal credit, of course, has followed you from the time you was young, whether you knew it or not. As soon as you got your first job at 16, certain things are already being reported. 18 is the legal age of when it's recognized, but your business, your personal credit can follow you. So your personal credit can be jacked up. It could be the low 500s, but when you have a business, the goal is to establish a business credit to make your business fundable. Establishing the federal code is the first step towards making you fundable, making financiers or investors look at you and go, well, why would we want to give you our money? So let's look at your company structure. Oh, they have a cage code. Okay, they're fundable. We can dump money into them. You understand? So the second step to that now is building the business credit, and that's many different levels of credit criteria that we look at. So if you would need to give me access to your personal credit, because the door of entry is through your personal credit. But the goal is to establish a business credit, not work on your personal, not unless you want me to, but really to promote the business.
So basically what I'm hearing you say in a nutshell, it doesn't matter what your personal credit is like, as long as you've got the business end of that pulling together so you can move forward. Is that
exactly
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically I will be establishing your vendor credit, your retail credit, your fleet credit, your revolving credit, everything that deals with credit related to the business. You want to be able to have a line of credit, because you might be broke in your bank account personally, but business-wise, you should have about $50,000 line of credit in a bank somewhere where you have liquidable assets where you can go and spend that money on what you need for your company while you're getting your personal credit together. Because we're not just going to leave the personal credit. You, at some point, have to get it up to notch. So if your business credit is a 900 score, you need your personal to be at least coming up to the 900 or coming up to the 800, at least 790. But the whole idea is to have that, I would say, equation of 900. Not that it is 900 for the business because they use a different rating system, but the system that they use is still, I'm making it relatable for those that are listening, a 900 credit score for the business.
Okay. So what do you have where you're going to teach them how to do this, and then or they can be, or you more or less handhold them or do it for them? What?
Well,
go ahead.
Yes, I do it for the client. I'm not a teacher, so nor do I claim to be one. But I do it for the client. I basically explain to them, this is what we're going to do. It is a holding of the hand process. I take them through the process. It lasts from anywhere from 30 days to up to 6 months, sometimes depending on how bad the situation is, or how bleak your credit may look. It may take some time, but it will take time. So I tell them from 30 days to 6 months, but you will begin to see the positiveness and the good things happening with your business credit. And when they start to offer you, well, we can approve you for $10,000. In fact, you was already approved. Here's the card. Don't be so quick to take it, because now I have power of attorney over everything. I want to make sure that you are building it right, building it sound. You don't want to get crazy. You don't want to treat your business credit like you treated your personal credit. So it's a matter of being disciplined, and I'm going to teach you discipline. That's one thing I'm going to teach you is discipline, okay?
Well, I heard you say, you said you have power of attorney. Would you go into that as far as what do you mean by that?
Well, limited power of attorney would have to be given to me in order for me to go in now and look at the 3 reporting agencies, the 3 credit reporting agencies. Most people only know about the 3, but there is actually 6. 3 that is exposed and 3 that is hidden, okay? So you have the 3 that you get to see because you're the consumer, okay? And that's what you begin to work on, that 3. But when you hire a professional, such as myself, or a team of professionals, that is know about the Federal Trade Commission and how credit works and the creditors and the different agencies, there are actually 3 that are hidden that also report on you, okay, where judgments are filed, not just in the court, not just on your personal credit, because it could disappear off your personal credit that you can see off the 3 reporting credit agencies, but it's still there somewhere. It's just hidden in a different credit reporting agency. So basically, I need the power of attorney, a limited power of attorney, just to do a general scope and to perform the services of establishing your business credit. That's the only power of attorney that you're giving me. You're giving me authorization to gain access to your credit profile and allowing me to now make it positive, bring the numbers up, make the negative into a positive.
Okay, Dr. Wanda, how would someone get in contact with you?
Well, they can reach me at my office number at 804-532-4611. Okay, or they can also call me at 609-840-2663.
Would you repeat those, please?
My office number again is 804-532-4611 or 609-840-2663.
Do you have an email?
Yes, Prestige, Prestige, Federal Grants. So it's Prestige Federal Grants at gmail.com.
Okay. And normally, how long does it take you to respond back to once people contact you?
In about 24 hours.
Okay. Well, when you're getting this stuff done for the people, what exactly would you say? What are your expectations of what you want from them, and what can they expect from you?
Well, they can expect me to form their business base and make it rock solid. Rock solid means integrity, character. You're going to expect from me to be integrative, to have character, to be truthful, to be honest. I expect the same thing from my clients. Be real. Be truthful. Be honest. I will not commit fraud. Do not come to me if you're looking for me to cut corners. Not happening. I'm not the one. I suggest you go to Facebook and find somebody on there, because I am real, I am tangible, I am open and honest. And this is what I expect from my clients. If you don't know, I expect you to ask me. Please ask me. No question is a stupid question, because you don't know. You're a new business owner. You're an entrepreneur, and even if you are been in business for many years, there are some things you may not know, and it's okay, because we are still learning, and we are learning every day. So I ask you to be teachable, willing to learn. Be willing to learn.
Very good. What are when you get these people, and from is there any particular thing that you're looking for them when they come to you? Let's say you set an appointment, and on the first call, you're doing exploratory as far as getting their information. And what have you found that people do on the first call? Because I know a lot of people are in denial about their credit.
Well, I don't even talk about credit on the first call. The first call, I'm really introducing myself. I'm also allowing them to talk, because believe it or not, people like to talk about themselves and their accomplishments and what they have done. So that first call is usually an hour-long call. And there's, and because I'm a personable person, I'm going to get into you. I'm going to listen to you, ask questions like, wow, that's great. So it's more or less getting to know who you are. What are you trying to do in your business? What's your mission? Why are you doing what you do? What made you do this? Why? So I'm getting a feel for you. And as you're talking, I'm taking notes because that's going to provide for me the course that I should take with you. It's still the basic things that I'm going to introduce, but it's going to provide to me what I need to do first. Okay? I get people from all genres of life. I get people from all different ages and levels, and they come to me, well, I've been in business 50 years. Okay, so what are you trying to do now? Well, I've changed my whole self. I'm going to now do, teach people how to fly a helicopter. I know nothing about this. This is new for me. Is there a grant out there for me to now teach classes? Yes, there is. There's always a grant for something. So basically, now I'm thinking, okay, so they're going to do it a life change. They've altered their whole life to now take on something that they love. So you want to provide, so it's basically just talking and getting to know them, that first meet. Then the second meeting is, now we're going to talk about this business. What are you looking to do with it? What do you want to do? This is what I can do for you based on our first conversation. You have a passion for this. There's a grant out there for that, or there's funding for that. There's a bid that they have on the table right now that you qualify for.
Okay. So, is there a charge for this first call?
No, there isn't.
Okay. So, usually you said the first call is about an hour or so?
Yes, an hour.
Okay. How soon after, if they submit to everything that you want, how soon after do you start the process?
The next day, the very next day, provided that the limited power of attorney is signed, the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, is signed, the actual business management development contract is signed. Once all those things are signed and the first initial payment deposit has been made, I get started right away.
Very good. All right. Well, you as an entrepreneur, because you've been in many businesses, and what I know about you, I know you're a Christian. How did God speak to you in getting involved with business? That you have a heart for people and business. Would you kind of elaborate on that?
Well, I was a housewife and very happy at being a housewife with no skills for the first 17 years. So I'm married young, married fresh at 20 years old, green-eyed and bushy-tailed, knew nothing. And that was my resolve, just to be the best wife that I could be, the best mother that I could be. So I was that Susie homemaker, and I loved it. It wasn't until I wanted to, we was going through issues, and I wanted a divorce, where now I realized I didn't have a skill. And I'm like, oh, my God, what do I know how to do? So it's been 17 years. I've not had a job forever. So basically, I began to just write different magazine articles, because back in the day you could write a clip from a magazine and make $100 or so. So I began that way, and from that I began to meet people, and they retained my services. They were like, "You're a great writer. You're a great writer," and that's what I used to hear a lot. But I didn't see this trying to make money from it at that point. So I'm like, okay, so while I'm doing that, I'm like, but I also love children too. So I actually began to watch children from my home. But I like children, all children, don't get me wrong, but my specialty was special needs children. Children that most babysitters didn't want to watch or keep. Children that were blind. Children that had ADHD. Children that had Williams syndrome disease. I love those children, and this is what got me going in child care, where I could make money, take care of myself and my kids, after the divorce because that was my main concern. But in that, I found that I was a businesswoman, and I actually liked it. And so going from watching children in my home in New York City, I landed a contract with Mayor Giuliani at the time, who was now the attorney to number 45. He gave me a contract to open up daycare centers in the homeless shelters in New York City. So there's 5 major homeless shelters in New York City. My contract was to have a daycare in each one of the shelters. So they paid the bills. They paid for the rent. They paid the telephone bill. They paid every bill. Their thing was, Miss Middleton, because I wasn't a doctor at the time, Miss Middleton, can you come and just love on the children here? Do what it is that you do in our shelters. So I was in the homeless shelters. I was located on the same floor as the commissioner and the deputy commissioners. And that's where I created a home away from home for the children that were homeless. So that way the parents can go out and do what they have to do to get a job or go to school. They didn't have to worry. They can drop their children off in the morning, and I kept them there, loved on them, me and my staff, until they picked them up in the evening. Because children are already traumatized. The fact that they're homeless, that's trauma right there. The fact that they're not in an environment where they're used to, that's trauma. So this began to grow, and I had about 5 different contracts in 5 different homeless shelters in New York City. And it kept going, and it kept growing. So my entrepreneurship was because I wasn't afraid. I mean, I was afraid, but I didn't let fear stop me. Let's put it like that. Every step of the way, I was afraid. Every step of the way, I was afraid of failing. But it wasn't enough to say I'm not going to try. What's the worst that can happen to me is they tell me no. But every time I tried, nobody told me no.
What I'm hearing you say is you didn't just talk about it, you were thinking about it.
Exactly. And what I didn't know, at that time, you didn't have Google Earth where you could just Google stuff. I began to ask questions. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the leap. I'm going to do this. You know, and I just kept going and kept going until I bought this restaurant from Queen Latifah and Missy Elliott in New Jersey. So and I didn't know anything about the restaurant business, but I was willing to say, guess what? I own a restaurant now, so what do I do?
Okay.
I got in with both feet on the ground and just kept going.
So you definitely had an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes, I found that I loved it. I loved it so much. So I had about 260 kids in the daycare centers. I turned them over to the team. I had to get a team together. And you always got to have people that you trust. And this it's not easy. I had a lot of sleepless nights because I had 4 major entities going at the same time, and they all were successful. So the issue wasn't that I wasn't successful. It was finding people that I could trust. Okay. And I have been burnt by family. I've been burnt by friends. It was trial and error. And it's like finding people who walks in a level of integrity like you do. Finding people who is not just giving you an excuse. Well, I'm doing my best, boss. No, I need you to do better than your best. I need to duplicate myself in you. If I could have 100 me, then everything would run well. So I began to pursue people that I could duplicate myself in. So when I went away to work on another project, I knew that I had a second me and a third me and a fourth me doing what I do, or even better than what I do.
Well, let me ask you this, Dr. Wanda. Is there, if you had to give some advice to, I guess I'm asking you to give some advice to those that maybe don't have a skill, and a lot of people, they operate from a place of fear, and some of them they're believing and trusting God. And what would you say to them as far as to go out and to pursue their dream? What type of advice would you give them? What pearls and nuggets of wisdom would you give to them?
Well, one of the things that I do, and I love to do this with women, single mothers, who are used to being an employee and not the employer, I first have to find their interest. And I tell them, listen, every one of us is born with a gift. God has gifted each and every one of us. It's just a matter of finding what your gift is. And once you discover what your gift is, your gift may be you love to organize everything in your food pantry. You like to put all the cans in one place, all the boxes in another. So I'm going to go, wow, you got great organization skills, okay? And that's a base. That's a skill. Not a lot of people have clean, organized homes, all right? And so I begin to get into the individual, and because they may not understand that what they have is marketable. Everything that you have is marketable. How can we make it marketable? So if you have a skill, it's marketable. Do you know people will pay you to go in their home and clean it and organize their desk, their office, their homes? They will pay you big money to go in and organize their life. It's marketable. So now, how do you want to market that? So now we're gonna come up with a name. And so I begin to talk to them, build their confidence. Like, because their first thing is, you sure I can make money from this? Are you serious? Yes, you can. You can make money from this. If a 13-year-old boy can sell lemonade for the homeless, and he now be famous on Facebook and making zillions of dollars from lemonade, come on, you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what with the advent of this COVID-19, how is it affecting, or how would you say it's affecting person's opportunity? Is it creating opportunity? Is it limiting them? What would you say? What is your opinion on operating in this pandemic that's going on to do grants and to do business?
First of all, I want to say that I'm sorry for the loss of many of those that may have lost a loved one from COVID-19, directly or indirectly. My daughter was diagnosed with COVID-19, and the whole time they were telling her that, she was telling them, no, I'm not, and I'm leaving, I'm going home, no, I'm not. And sure enough, she left because they couldn't keep her, fight against her will. Yeah. And she left and went home. I said, well, self-quarantine. She's like, Mom, I'm not quarantined, nothing. I'm healed because of her faith in God. And they called her back and said, oh, we misdiagnosed you. Oh, you don't have it. You just have allergies. We're like, wow. Really? Yeah, exactly. So we didn't believe the hype. You know, I'm like, King Corona is a toppled king. King of kings ever. He's toppled because we are believing believers, number one. Number two, so I want to say that, you know, first of all, sorry for those that did lose their loved ones, because not everybody can say that they didn't, that they weren't touched by it. But I was telling my daughter, I'm like, COVID-19 has provided so many opportunities on so many levels. Number one, the streets are clear and clean. There's not much traffic on the roads because everybody's staying home. So I took advantage and I went out every day. I walked every day. But I began to pray and speak into the airwaves and pray and begin to establish some things in the earth. I'm an apostle, so this is what I do. The second thing is COVID provided so much financial opportunities. There are so many big businesses that have went under. JCPenney is going bankrupt. Macy's been affected. There's so many different major corporations that have folded and minor businesses that have closed up. I'm sorry for their loss, okay? Let me say, I'm sorry for your loss, but I am celebrating because it's going to be my gain. So COVID-19 is an entrepreneur's paradise.
Amen.
Okay?
Amen.
You can look at the negative and focus on the negative. That's why I apologize respectfully. I'm sorry for your loss. But then I got to flip it and come up out of the negative and look at the positive. So much advantage has been allowed and given right now. Why are you sitting and doing nothing? Why aren't you buying gold nuggets and gold bullions and then tucking it away in a safe deposit box? Why are you not getting into the market Why haven't you invested your money in a Walmart stock when it was $67? Go buy about 5 of them. Now they jumped up to $1,500 per share. That was instant money you could have made. Why are you not taking advantage of something that's so readily available? Oh, I don't know much about the stock market. Okay, download the app Acorn. Download the Stash app. Invest $10 a week. You can do something, lest you do nothing. Do something, lest you do nothing.
Wow. With that being said, to sum it up, is there any particular, advice that you would give a person just in say maybe 2 or 3 sentences that they need to take to heart to move forward in all the things that you said?
Fear. The acronym for fear is, and you said it, I want you to say it.
false evidence appearing real.
There you go. Fear is false evidence appearing real. If you live in fear, you will do nothing. You will stay in your cave. You will stay in that pit. You will say, woe is me, I'm in the pit. You will hang pictures in the pit. You will buy furniture for the pit. You will deck your pit out. But the problem is you're still in the pit. But Jesus has lowered a ladder, and he's saying, climb up the ladder. At any time, you can come up out that pit. Just get the climbing. That's my final remarks.
Amen. Amen. So I want to ask you now, what is the name of the radio station that gives you a bridge and escorts you across the bridge?
The bridge?
KBRG, the bridge.
Yes, there you go. Okay. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So what
the bridge.
All right, absolutely. So this is not going to be the last time that we have you on the show. There's other information that I know that you can give. I mean, it's a short and limited amount of time. We definitely want to have you back in a series that people can, once they contact you, we can set up different seminars where they can actually talk with you and ask you some questions, and maybe retaining your service so that they can move forward and engage these different grants. And I appreciate you coming on. And if that would you be amenable to that?
Yes, that sounds like a plan. That sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you for having me on.
All right. You've been listening to KBRG, The Bridge. God bless everyone, and have a great day.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright